Chapter 23B. All You Can Eat. Because Paulie and Dave never drank alcohol, our biggest vice while we were on the road was always food. We would eat everything and anything we could find. One of our main things that we loved to do were eating contests. I believe the very first one was after we all saw the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on TV. After a show at Arlene's Grocery in the East Village of New York City, we decided to have our own hot dog eating contest, ZO2 style. ZO2 and a few dozen friends went to the world-famous Gray's Papaya on 8th Street and 6th Avenue to begin the festivities. The winner was whomever could eat the most hot dogs in 10 minutes. Paulie and Dave were big eaters, but both didn't realize that hot dogs had been my favorite food when I was a young kid. For some reason, the Z brothers decided that they wanted condiments on their hot dogs. I went plain dog and bun. Once the clock started, I jumped out to a quick lead, devouring 3 hot dogs in the first minute. Paulie surprisingly fell behind right away, but Dave was right on my tail. As we approached the 10-minute mark, my stomach was actually feeling pretty great, but my jaw was killing me. Paulie was way behind at this point, and Dave was about 1.5 behind me. The timer sounded, and we were instructed to stop eating. The final tally was Paulie 9 hot dogs, Dave 13.5, and the winner, Joey, with 15 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Immediately after, I decided that I didn't want the calories from the 15 dogs sitting in my belly. I had to watch my girlish figure after all. So, I went out onto 8th Street and proceeded to throw every bit of the 15 hot dogs up all over the street. Kids, don't try this at home. It's very, very unhealthy. Weirdly, I could always throw up on demand. Dave was in shock and asked me, "Why the hell are you throwing it all up?" I told him, "Because I don't want all of those calories." He looked at me completely dumbfounded and asked, "You mean if I throw it up, I won't get the calories? That's amazing. Why doesn't everybody do that?" I responded by saying, "Some people do. It's called bulimia, stupid." We both had a big laugh. I'll definitely put it on YouTube one day for everyone to get a laugh. This was just the beginning of our countless eating contests over the next 10 years. The TV show Man vs. Food was just becoming popular, and whenever ZO2 hit a new town, we would always look to see if there were any challenges that the host, Adam Richman, did on the show. We had a great time trying these. We succeeded at some and failed at others, but always had a ball eating either way. Those big challenges were fun, but I always enjoyed the spur-of-the-moment bet that would happen at a rest stop at 3 a.m. One night, Dave bet us that he could eat 75 McDonald's chicken nuggets. And sure enough, he did it. After he ate the nuggets, he attempted to purge himself like I did with the hot dogs. Unfortunately, Dave didn't have my gift of vomiting at will. Thank God he didn't, because the noises that came out of him in the bathroom stall at that rest stop while trying to vomit for the next hour and a half were some of the funniest things I have ever heard in my life. Not to be outdone by his little brother, the next day, Paulie bet that he could eat 7 McDonald's double quarter pounders with cheese. Yes, you heard that correctly. 7 doubles. That's 14 burgers. What was even worse, this was only about an hour before ZO2 was going to hit the stage. Whether Paulie completed the challenge or not, either way, this was going to be great. Paulie's only condition was that the burgers had to be made fresh. So, we ordered 3 double quarter pounders and told the McDonald's cook to be ready for when we needed more. I think some of the workers and cooks at these places enjoyed seeing us try these ridiculous eating challenges just as much as we did. I could definitely beat Paulie in a head-to-head speed eating challenge, but when it came to quantity, Paulie was the man to beat, and he proved it this night. Paulie ate the 7 double quarter pounders with cheese with relative ease. And even more surprisingly, he sang amazingly at the show only 20 minutes later. He always says he thinks all the McDonald's grease helped coat his throat. Another fun challenge was when I said I could eat 2 full boxes of cereal. Paulie and Dave took the bet with one stipulation. They had to pick one of the boxes of cereal. I agreed. I picked one of my all-time favorites, Fruity Pebbles. They picked something that they thought would be impossible to eat, shredded wheats. I remember sitting at a diner while they ate their dinner food, and I devoured 2 full boxes of cereal. People looked at us like we were completely insane. No, we weren't Motley Crue doing drugs until we were in a stupor. We weren't AC/DC drinking until we passed out. We were ZO2 eating until we were ready to burst. Some of the other eating challenges we went through the years included Dave eating a dozen Dunkin' Donuts. By the way, not the best idea, being that Dave was diabetic. Paulie and I eating a full pizza each at Joe's Pizza in LA. Paulie was actually still hungry after the pie and ordered 2 more slices. I even ate a full jar of peanut butter one night on a bet. Dave disgustingly ate 100 oysters once. I still think this might have been the worst of all the challenges. The guy who had to shuck the oysters, that's open them by the way, was so pissed off. Even our fans would bring us a feast after our shows. They would bring us cookies, cakes, donuts, anything that was terrible and fattening they would bring for us. Finally, we asked people if they really wanted to feed us to try and bring us some healthy snacks. So they started to bring us giant shrimp platters. I remember eating 100 platter of shrimp each one night. The weirdest thing someone gave us was a jar of red liquid with some kind of mushy substance inside. I swear that it looked like a jar with a bloody organ in it. They told us it was something called blood pudding. We decided to pass on that one after legendary rock singer Joe Lynn Turner told us a horror story of his. Actually, I think Dave still might have tasted it. Joe said that a young fan brought him a homemade baked cherry pie one night. Joe had a piece of this delicious pie later that night and never thought another second about it. That was until he saw the same fan at a show months later. The young female fan asked Joe if he enjoyed the pie she had made for him. Joe told her that it was delicious and he thanked her for baking it. The fan was suddenly very excited that Joe had eaten her pie and creepily said, "Now we will be together forever." Joe asked, "What do you mean be together forever?" The young girl giggled and told Joe that she had put her own blood into the pie and now she would be inside of him forever. Ugh. Needless to say, after hearing that story, I never ate another homemade fan-made food item again. Amazingly enough, this did not deter Paulie and Dave. They continued to eat everything and anything that the fans brought them. Disgusting. For Dave's 30th birthday, we got him something he'd wanted his whole life. What's that, you ask? A new car? A new bass? Cool new jewelry? Nope. He wanted to swim in a pool of Twinkies and eat his way out. Yes, you heard that correctly. A 30-year-old man wanted to swim in a pool of Twinkies and eat his way out. So we bought a small blow-up pool and filled it with about 500 Twinkies. Do you know how long it takes to open 250 packs of goddamn Twinkies? A long time, that's how long. Dave was in absolute heaven when he opened his eyes and saw the pool of Twinkies. He proceeded to jump in, splash around, more like squish around, and dunk his head underneath the 500 Twinkies like he was going underwater. He then sat there for the next 45 minutes and ate as many smashed up, squashed up Twinkies as his little heart desired. A perfect 30th birthday in his eyes. Over the years, ZO2's eating habits have become almost legendary. There have been so many occasions that we ate enough for 10 people. I remember being in LA, playing a few shows with Chris Jericho's band Fozzy. We were playing at the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip, and Fozzy was doing a meet and greet and had it catered with food and drink. Of course, ZO2 was invited to take part in the festivities, and I think Fozzy immediately regretted it. Most bands would have taken advantage of the drinks, but ZO2 dove right into the food. I remember someone saying that the 3 of us ate more than all of Fozzy's meet and greet guests combined. Another time when we opened for Dream Theater, we hung out with drummer Mike Portnoy after the show in the dressing room. He also made the mistake of telling us, "Help yourselves, do whatever you want." He still repeats the story today of how we ate everything in their dressing room in under 5 minutes. Paulie even started to bring his own Tupperware containers to shows so he could fill up at catering. When we opened for Kiss in Lake Tahoe, we were all in catering together, and Paulie pulled out his Tupperware and started filling it up. Gene and Paul were standing next to him and looking at him like he was a maniac. Well, secretly, I think Gene appreciated the idea and thought it was genius. One of my all-time favorite ZO2 food stories was when we were in LA for the NAMM Music Convention and had dinner with the guys from Anthrax, Avenged Sevenfold, Mike Portnoy, and Chris Jericho. We all went to an Italian restaurant called Buca di Beppo. We had an absolute feast, and of course, Paulie, Dave, and I ordered way more than everyone else. Once the massive bill arrived, Jericho kindly said that the meal was on him. Paulie said absolutely not, and that ZO2 wanted to put in their share. Earlier that day, we were at our hotel, and Paulie noticed a 20% off coupon for Buca di Beppo on the coupon rack near the front desk. So, after the whole table filled with rock stars heard Paulie demand that ZO2 chip in their fair share of the bill, they witnessed him go inside his wallet and present Jericho with his coupon. The table erupted in laughter. Of course, Jericho refused to use Paulie's coupon, but Paulie was very insistent. Finally, Jericho reluctantly agreed. The waitress took the check, coupon included, and we all left to head over to Mike Portnoy's performance at the Sabian show. Jericho unfortunately had to wait to sign the bill. Later that evening, when we all met up again, Jericho came over to Paulie and started jokingly yelling at him. Paulie didn't understand what could be so wrong. He proceeded to tell us that he was completely mortified when the waitress returned with the bill for him to sign and informed him that unfortunately his coupon had expired. We laughed so hard we couldn't breathe.